Hello everyone, this is Tyrant, and welcome back to the Minecraft Steampunk Modpack episode 6. I'm doing quite a bit better than I was before. I've recovered largely from my concussion, and now let's focus on what's going on here in the game. So, a lot of me running around here is me trying to decide how I want to pull the power off of this, now that I've built it. Because I've confused myself, because I've made myself such a low entry point as to pull out power. So I looked around a bit, tried to figure out how I'm going to pull that power off. I stopped to think, and it's like, well, where's an ocean biome? I asked Solar where an ocean biome is, and head out in that direction towards the ocean biome. I was concerned about getting too cold, but as you can see, we get down to around 14 and 15, and it doesn't really get any lower. Then I ran into these wonderful dudes. Ran into a little goblin group. They were immediately hostile towards me. I don't know if they're just by default hostile or what. But I'm also being attacked by bees because passive mobs are hostile against me in hard mode. So, hardcore mode, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not in hardcore, it's whatever activatable thing the mod has. The amulet I'm wearing that taunts me when I die. They weren't too hard to deal with. The bees were my worry, and I didn't like having to kill bees in a beehive because honey's going to be important later, and I talked to Solar about that here. I mentioned that specifically to Solar while we were playing, that I'm sorry, I had to murder some bees over here. Now I'm just looking for this kelp here. I don't need a lot because it's easy enough to grow at home, especially if you have bone meal and everything, but it grows fast. So you get a decent farm, and when you have an automatic farm, it's passive and it's always making what you need. I stopped to ask Solar if I should murder the water pup, the water dog. She told me no, so I didn't. Those were mini melons, I think, and I took those back home with me. The beehive was still alive, so I left it. Ran away as fast as I could to make sure that they were good. Checked the bee count, and it was still good. Perfectly okay, it's still there for use for later. I have the kelp I need to start my farm. Once I have it automated, you don't need much. I end up with way more than I actually need planted, but that's because I'm manually harvesting it still. But we're ready to actually set up an automated kelp farm on the next actual live stream here. And that's going to be one of the first things we do, is set up the automated kelp farm and feed it through what cooks it. And you're going to get to actually see me in... I don't know if it's going to be episode 6 or episode 7, as we do have one more episode to come after this one. Right now, I'm just taking all of this to be too deep, so that the kelp can actually grow up one block. And because of how kelp's texture has been changed, it is a nightmare to manually harvest and manually place, because you can't really see where you're placing it and where you're breaking it, and if you break a block in between other blocks you've placed, it's very hard to see through this Cthulhian nightmare to be able to actually get to what you need to place down. To this point, I still don't know if I have empty blocks in there. I might. Solar has had a habit of coming up here and throwing things in my toolbox. I don't know when that happens, but I'm mostly using it for storing blocks that we have large amounts of, so any kind of deep slate, any kind of stone, andesite, anything that we're going to have multiple stacks of, because it stores up to 256 of them. And so it's a decent storage for it, especially if it's something I'm going to end up using later. I've mentioned this in previous episodes, but you can use the toolbox to actually stack the same tool on top of each other. But as our tools upgrade individually, and we change individual components out in them, you don't actually need it for stacking tools. Otherwise, I'd have a stack of iron pickaxes in there, or something along those lines while I'm mining. So, it's a very helpful thing to have with you while you're going around. For the most part, this is me asking Solar what the kelp looks like. And she runs up and forth through the mines, through both this episode and the next episode. Comes up to charge up the backpack every 15 minutes, and comes back up with shiny resources. I will need those diamonds eventually, so I'm glad that I have them. They're going to be very important, because I'm going to end up needing to make diamond grit sandpaper at some point, I believe. Among other things. And let's see. I was trying to think about a specific ore that solar was going to run into that when you mine it, it doesn't drop anything. And it's part of one of the, I think it's the Iter RPG mod, but I wasn't positive, but it's meant to drop magical shards, and I don't know if that was a bug or if we were doing it wrong, but it drops experience when you mine it. So that's what this pause and conversation is about, is me trying to figure that out. I don't believe we have an AFK moment here. We might. We might go to touching grass and then back out. Yep. Yep, had to go back outside and work on the mower. And then the server was down because Solar is done playing, so we're gonna have some solo play from here for a while. I'm very congested right now. I've had a bunch of allergy problems, so if I pause, it's likely me clearing my throat. Apologies if I do it in your ear. I might at some point. Now, waiting on the server to be up. Come on, I believe. There it is. Can I connect to it yet? Change it to the beans. It's up. Now, I end up solo playing without Solar for a while here. It takes a long time to get Create going, and Solar had done a lot of mining, especially while I was AFK. I had hours of AFK time, pretty much, is what happened during the stream. But we still ended up with enough for a few episodes out of it, which was pretty decent. I would have preferred to play without the AFK time. I didn't get enough time for the Minecraft time to be fulfilling with Solar, but we'll get enough next time. We also have a Baldur's Gate playthrough going right now, but that's a private playthrough. We're not streaming that one or recording it. Lots of different things we're playing. Let's see. Still mostly focusing on expanding the kelp farm. It's large enough where I could start making belts, and I need to focus on that. And we'll get to that here very soon. It's about to the size where I've decided to start making belts. Sitting here talking about my plans with making belts in the kelp farm and what machines I want to make next. Just kind of talking openly about all of my plans for the future and what we're going to be doing with our machinery here. At some point I talked about automating the kelp farm and didn't actually put in the work I need to. You might notice I take a tick of damage every once in a while. I really need... I might have just stopped and asked Solar for it, but I do stop and ask Solar for the backpack and helmet at some point, because I keep almost drowning myself. There's Solar joining, that is what the pause was. I paused and asked Solar to go out and give it to me, because I keep almost drowning myself. It takes her a little while to get out. She gets a little bit low on air down in the mines, and that's a little bit scary, but she does make it up here, and we do actually get what we need so that we stop almost drowning ourselves while we're working on the kelp farm here. The additional crafting table is because I want to have something both to repair my pickaxe down here and for a crafting table down here. But I forgot that I need the actual proper tool levels to be able to repair my pickaxe. So I would need to bring them down from upstairs, and I didn't want to do that yet, but it would be a good idea because we do most of our work down here in the mines. Most of our mining's down here. We only go up to cut trees at this point. And even then, I might end up automating that down here underground. Oh, do I fill out most of the kelp farm before I get belts going? Please tell me I don't. Hey. And finally, I don't have to worry about drowning myself anymore. I did it 5 or 6 times? I might need to go back and count at some point, but... Again, I think there's a better way to strip and make these. I believe if we have cutting boards, I can strip them on the cutting boards and get extra resources. But I probably checked for cutting boards and they weren't available. So the better way to actually make any sort of the andesite blocks that I need. The... What are they called? I don't remember. I'm not going to mouse over them for right now because obviously I'm doing a voiceover. Andesite casing. That's the name. Anyways. I just need to make them on the tree. Strip the tree, make it on the tree, break it off of the tree. Instead of cutting down the tree, bringing it in, placing it down, then stripping it, then making it. That way I don't have to break it twice. I'll have it automated at some point. I'll have everything automated at some point. Automated tree farms aren't too complicated, and you just start one tree at a time, and it's just like the kelp farm. You're busy doing other things most of the time, so it's just passively making what you need. Now, I don't know about automating getting zinc, other than setting up something that mines for me, or like a tunneler, or a quarry machine, or automating making the andesite bars that I need and actually applying that. That would be done with a placer, so I would need another assembly line for that. This can get pretty complicated. And I believe there's no way for me to grow zinc, so we're definitely going to have to continue mining and expanding out. As where solar finally decides to get off, so we're back to solo play again. I am looking at different attachments and different parts for my axe at this point, because I wanted to see what the best axe I can make is, and to make sure that I'm actually getting the best efficiency out of my axe while I'm using it. And honestly, I think just running a basic stone axe is the most worthwhile. It breaks things fast enough. Breaks both wood fast enough and the andesite casing fast enough for me to not really have to worry about it. Upgrading it to iron at some point isn't going to be a problem. We're always going to have plenty of iron. I'm still concerned about how going to the nether is going to be, and that might be an extreme thing. That is something we need to do, is actually gather the obsidian for that. The complicated part is that if you're around lava, you get hot very quickly. So you need to break that obsidian from a distance, or else you're going to overheat before you can break the obsidian. So there's extra complications on top of actually gathering what we need to go to the nether, which shouldn't be too bad. Here we go, where I go out and gather all of this wood, and I mentioned at some point that it would be easier to just strip these logs out here, and I still cut down all of the trees, so obviously it wasn't too tedious of a task for me. And so far so good. I've gotten all of the wood I need so far to get plenty of andesite casing to be able to make everything that I do need to make. And it will last me for quite a while. I might have enough to make some zinc casing after we go to the nether, for that matter. I gathered that much wood here. So we're set for quite a while. I believe that is all of the tree cutting we've done. I sort our chest just a little bit here, trying to make sure all of our acorns are together. I do try to make sure I stack things together where possible to stack them together, but of course our inventory system is a nightmare. It'll be figured out in the future, or I'm going to have one big storage for each individual item, which is always easy enough to set up to auto-sort. What I figured out there was I originally made the wrong chest if I want to upgrade them using the iron chest mod. And that's going to be mildly frustrating in the future, because I have two chests there that are effectively unusable except for in the current state that they are in. I don't believe there's a way for me to convert them at this point. They didn't have conversion recipes when we played, but some other mod packs have made it so that you can convert the different chests back into normal chests, so it is possible to make those conversion recipes. Might be something I'd look into doing myself here. No, what are we looking at? Looking at traveling to other dimensions at this point, and talking about what different magic things there are, and what different things do, just different unlocks that we could be working towards. I really wanted to make a diamond shield, decided against it. We need the diamonds for other things. Now, looking at different kinds of steels, different blocks we can make. I want to find an ancient factory underground pretty badly. And we're done looking. Let's go. Am I taking the campfire down here? Yes. Alright. So this is where we finally decide to put together... Am I actually going to finish the kelp farm, or am I taking this to cook it? I am taking this to cook it on the campfire. Alright, we're using campfires to start our belt making here. That's not bad. I'm not using resources, burnable resources that way, so I'm saving on that. And I'm basically doing other things and sorting out inventories and crafting more campfires, because we're going to need more campfires. It turns out in the end I only need 2, but we'll see that in the future. Now, I'm trying to decide where to pull belts off of here. And that's always a complicated question, because I don't want to move our vertical contraption here, and I want to pull the power out of this, and I want everything to be as compact as it can be for right now. So, what did I come up here for? Ooh, alright, I'm gonna build with deep slate. That's a decision I'm making here. I like how deep slate looks, specifically bricks, and I don't actually end up using the right kind, I believe, originally when I start building. I don't know if I focus on building right now or not, but we'll actually see what I do. It's always funny to go back and spectate yourself and do a voiceover and be not entirely sure what you work on, because you know what you've done and what you've accomplished, but you don't remember all of the in-betweens. I got a goblin trader here. That was nice. Got a decent amount of gold and copper out of it. He also distracts me forever. Goblin traders are hilarious, as you might have seen in a particular short I've uploaded. But I also run at them like they run at other people when I see them, because they have shinies. And I would like to have those shinies. Oh, this was Doug. Hello, Doug. I'm glad you visited, Doug. I end up making more campfires. And end up only needing 2 campfires. You're not going to see this in this episode. There are going to be uses for those campfires later. And if we ever want to cook anything without throwing it through our actual automated cooking, or if we want to upgrade our automated cooking or make a second line, those campfires are going to be useful for that. Granted, usually I use burning netherrack instead of campfires, but I don't know if there's a functional difference, to be perfectly honest. I need to figure it out. If one cooks faster than the other, if there's a certain heat that cooks food faster than the other, kelp is effectively considered a food, so you wouldn't be cooking it in a blasting furnace, you know? Right there, I'm literally just digging to decorate. And right now I'm looking back around to decide how I want to decorate. Or am I trading? Trading for emeralds! Distracted by the goblin trader again. Now we're looking at decorating. Notice I didn't make bricks. I just made deep slate stairs. And that is literally what we commit to here. And this is also the end of this episode. So, is seeing this mistake. Thank you all for watching. And I'm excited to see you all in the next episode. And hopefully soon, more episodes after that, when we stream more. I love you all, and thank you for being here. See you in the next one.